turn that down so you can hear me properly. Sorry, oops, whoa, that's fallen. Apparently that's not very tight. Something's wrong. Oops, something's wrong. Probably shouldn't be doing this while I'm driving. Colorado did just pass their new thingy McBibber. But these roads are horrible. You can probably hear my stuff in my truck jangling around while I'm hitting all these little inconsistencies in the road. Whenever I get to another stop sign or whatever, I'll try to fix this better. But yeah, I'm on my way to meet my uncle for a little dinner, or at least hang out for a little bit. Today is December 10th, 2024. They just sold their house, my uncle and my aunt. They are moving to Arizona. They were driving down there first thing tomorrow morning. So they had to do a lot of paperwork today on selling their house and, you know, finishing up the paperwork on the new house that they were buying. So, yeah, that's where we're at. They are doing their, they're staying in a hotel tonight, and that's where I'm going to go meet them. Maybe have a bite to eat, maybe just sit around, have a drink or, you know, a beer or two, and call it a night. My uncle moved to Denver in the mid to late 70s. I'm not 100% sure when. I know he's told stories about getting out of, you know, the Navy at, you know, during Vietnam. He did his 2 years. And he kind of floated around a little bit, stayed with, damn. Yeah, you can tell these buttons are pretty, or these bumps are pretty hard. But he floated around, stayed with us for a couple of weeks, stayed with another of his brothers or sisters or something for a little bit, kind of floated around a little bit, and then ended up out here in Denver, and he stayed here ever since, which is basically what happened to me. I got out of the Army. I went and stayed at my mom's house for about a month, and then I moved here to Denver because this is where some friends were, and I wanted to not be that close to my mom. So the house that they just sold, just a little tiny post-war house, you know, post-World War II house in a post-World War II neighborhood. Dang. I'm not going to get stuck by any lights, am I? Well, they bought that house in 1993. And they've been in it since 1993. And if you know anything about the housing market in Colorado right now, they made a good penny when they sold the house. Now, would they have made more if it was a bigger house like you're seeing on to the left? Or, I'm sorry, to the right? Yeah. But it was a little house. I think it was something like 1,100 square feet upstairs. And then the basement was unfinished, but it was another, you know, probably 900 square feet. And then over the years, he finished the basement, but I don't think it was all, I don't think permits and stuff were pulled, so he can't sell it with a finished basement. Anywho, they decided, and I'm using air quotes you can't see, but they decided that they were moving to Arizona because his wife, who is 73, has rheumatoid arthritis, and she thinks the hotter, drier weather will be better for her. Okay. So, he spent, you know, the last 50 years in Denver. The last 30 years. Oh, shoot. Yeah, 30 some odd years. Is it 30 some odd years or 40? Anywho. Sorry, I'm still stuck on that. I'm like, if somebody was born in 1993, would they be 30 or 40 now? I think they'd be 30. But yeah, in the same house. So it's got to be tough for them. It's got to be emotional. Because that's the house they brought their son home to. That's the house their son was raised in. That's the house they had backyard barbecues and family reunions and, you know, everything going on. So that's what, plus, my uncle always lived here. I actually, for the first time ever, since I moved here in 1999, for the first time ever, I actually had to ask him for a ride somewhere about a year ago. I needed a medical procedure done. They would not let me drive myself. They said if you get a taxi or an Uber or anything like that, then the driver would have to come in and wait. So it was pretty, so I called him up, and normally I would rely on friends or something for that. But the friends that I was going to ask happened to be out of town that week. And a couple other friends that I was going to ask, because it was middle of the day, so I couldn't just ask anybody who had a job. So I was looking for, I had a couple retired friends that I was asking. One just flat out said no, he was busy. I almost asked this girl that I know, but she's already trying to become a little bit more than friends with me, and I didn't want to let her, I didn't want to rely on her. I mean, she would have done it. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely, without hesitation, she would have done it. But then she would have thought that we were, that I was starting to rely on her a little bit more, and therefore, the relationship was was advancing or something, and I didn't want to be in that situation. So I went over to my uncle's house, having not talked to him in like 2 or 3 years, and I was like, hey, I need a ride. Can you do it? And he's like, oh, I'm busy that day. I said, well, can your wife do it? He's like, she doesn't drive anymore. Apparently, her arthritis got so bad, she just stopped driving. He wants to sell her car because why have 2 cars and 2 insurance payments and all that other fun stuff? But she, well, it is about traffic time, so this makes sense. But she thinks she's going to get better and she's going to start driving again. Yeah, I don't think that's actually going to happen, but I'm not a doctor that specializes in arthritis. I can't remember the name of that off the top of my head right now. So fast forward, I asked him if his son could, because his son was living with him again. Apparently he had moved to Arizona at one point for a couple years. I didn't even know that happened. And then he turned around and moved back here with his now girlfriend. And a couple months ago, they turned around and moved to Arizona. But anywho, I asked if his son could do it. And of course, his son worked, even though he worked from home, he worked during the day. I'm using air quotes again. And couldn't leave his desk. Okay. So my uncle, made a couple phone calls, and he was able to, because he did freelance work. He owned his own business. He set his own schedule, that kind of thing. So he just called, and he's like, hey, he asked whoever he had an appointment with that day if he could, change the days. And she said, yeah, that's fine. So he took me, but it's the first and only time I've ever had to ask them for help. And now that, the point being is that bridge is leaving. So, yeah. I don't think they're going to be happy in Arizona. Especially, I think he's 69, she's 73. Especially starting over in a new place like that when they've, lived in the same house for 30 years, 31 years. But, plus, I used to live in Arizona. The Army sent me to Arizona. Arizona sucks. Like, it is the worst place on this planet. Maybe not the worst place on this planet, but it is the worst place in the Western Hemisphere. So I don't think they're going to be happy, but, he's semi-retired. He just picks up work from his regular clients just to, keep some money coming in. Doesn't take on any new clients, but moving to Arizona, he's losing all of his clients, he's losing all of his connections, everything like that. So it is what it is. Personally, I don't see moving as a bad thing, but I like adventure. I like trying new things. I like going new places. I like meeting new people. My uncle is not that person. His wife is definitely not that person. And I don't know if you saw the guy with the flashlight on the side of the highway there. Weird thing was, as I was driving this way a couple days ago, same thing. There was a couple on the side of the road in that general position, also walking up and down the road looking for something on each side of the wall. Sorry, I was trying to figure out where I needed to go. I'm getting off on Arapahoe. Normally I'd go downtown Denver to get to their house. So yeah, I'm talking about my uncle and I'm like, oh yeah, I got a few minutes. But nope, Arapahoe's just a couple exits up. So yeah, that's what's going on. And then I leave myself Friday. I'm gonna leave and drive down to Florida. So I'll probably get bored. I'll probably record video, especially if I'm in anywhere that's remotely attractive. So if I'm around any kind of actual scenery or anything, it should be good. Now, if I'm just driving through, the flatlands of Texas, maybe not. If I'm on an interstate, maybe not. But if I'm doing something fun or interesting or whatever, then I probably will. Anywho, you guys don't need to come with me all the way to their hotel because they're only staying there tonight. They're leaving tomorrow morning unless they didn't get the paperwork done. Because when I texted him earlier to say, hey, are we still on for dinner? He's like, oh shoot, I forgot. We've been having problems with the closing. So, who knows what'll happen. Maybe they didn't close today. So I think they are this way. Oh, nope. I was in the right lane. That lane had an arrow that pointed straight, so I moved over, and it turns out this is the one that goes straight. So yeah, they're in the, I think you might be able to see it. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Nope, they're not at 7-Eleven. They're at La Quinta there. So that's where I'm going. All right. Well, thank you for coming on this drive with me. And I hope you guys all are enjoying your day. And we'll talk again.